Hello and welcome to this roundtable discussion. Today, as the world navigates uncertainty and transformation, many are taking a closer look at governance models that deliver stability, long-term vision, and results. With around 100 million members and over a century of history, the CPC plays a unique and central role in China's political system. In this discussion, we will delve into the governance model of the CPC and how it adapts to a rapidly evolving world. So joining us today are Mr. Einar Tangen, Senior Fellow at the Taihe Institute. Welcome.
It's a pleasure to be here.
And Ms. Zheng Yi, Associate Professor of the Party School of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of China. Welcome.
I'm glad to be here.
So let's start by exploring the core objectives of the Communist Party of China. So from your perspective, as a China expert, Einar, what do you think are the fundamental goals of the CPC and how do they compare with the ruling parties of the Western countries?
All political systems aim at somehow serving the people or the interests or what they perceive the interests are. You can have multi-party systems, or in China, you have a single-party system. You actually have more than one party, but I mean, it's the CPC is generally, it's a unison, it acts in concert. The question is, despite good intentions, who actually achieves, all right, the objectives of helping the people? If you look at the last 45 years of China, after the independence period, when you started having the open up period, you've had the greatest economic miracle in history. So many people taken out of poverty, elimination of extreme poverty, right? These are very, very important things. If you achieve those, you are entitled to be the representative because you're doing what is necessary. Whereas in other countries, they have multi-party systems, they have a ballot box, they have free speech sometimes, but they're not able to achieve what the people need. You have, for instance, the United States, even in Europe, huge divisions internally. People are against each other, left and right. They blame each other. They see themselves as victims. Whereas in China, they see opportunity. And you have to trace that back to the party, to the ruling apparatus.
Yeah. So, Professor Zheng, at Sanwan, you have been studying the China's political system and party building for many years. What do you think are the fundamental goals of, or the core objectives of the CPC as it compared to other Western democracies?
I think the key test for a political party or a government is whether it can truly stand with the people. Unlike the Western democracies, which prioritize elections and the ballot box, I think the CPC always follows the principle of putting people first. The CPC sees democracy not as something decorative or symbolic, but as something very practical, meant to solve real problems. So the party does not make any empty pledges. Once something is promised, it must be delivered. So under its leadership, China has pursued development and reforms with a strong people-centered approach, gradually turning the public's desire for a better life into reality. And the country now has achieved two milestones that are rare in the world. One is the rapid economic growth, and the other is the long-term social stability. Since the CPC's 18th National Congress in 2012, the Chinese people's living standard has been improved across the board, and the public services become more accessible and inclusive. And the world's largest social security system has been established. And also, the advances in technology has made people's everyday life more convenient. So the benefits of China's modernization are being shared more fairly, making people feel greater well-being, security, and satisfaction. From launching the world's largest and most ambitious poverty alleviation campaign, which has lifted about 1/5 of the world's population out of absolute poverty, to significantly improving the status of women, elderly, people with disability, and ethnic minority. The party always believes that people's well-being reflects the public sentiment, and that public sentiment lies at the heart of the party's mission and the party's concern. According to the global communication firm Edelman, China's National Trust Index has long remained above the score of 70 for many years and has ranked top globally for 7 times during the last decade. In 2024, China has again topped the list with a trust score of 79, marking its 3rd consecutive year at number 1.
And this is the part they don't understand. They see a one-party system as a dictator. Actually, the only dictator in China are the people, right? Yeah. And it's like I said, imagine in the United States, we don't have a report card. We have a State of the Union, and it's basically why I didn't achieve everything I promised. Whereas in China, every year, you have your 2 sessions, and the leaders have to get up and explain, did you accomplish or not, right? That is a report card. I don't know of any other country in the world where they have a yearly report card on what you promised to do last year and what you actually did. And they have to admit that. And this is something that people have to understand.
Yeah, so you touched upon the Western countries, in ruling parties in Western countries tend to focus more on the ballot box, right, and the electoral cycles. So, Einar, could you expand on China's ability or the CPC's ability to conduct longer-term planning?
Well, no, planning is the key. I mean, it says you have these 5-year plans, right? And this is the thing that people understand in the West. A 5-year plan doesn't, it's not like written by one guy. It's oh, here's the plan, let's go do it. It's exhaustive. You're talking millions of man hours of work, people hours, I should say. So, because it has to be harmonized. So somebody has an idea, they want to put it into the 5-year plan. It falls in line with the general principles, economic and political, all right? It then has to be sent down to the grassroots, to the village, even below the village, to the local units. They have to review it, they have to make comment, and then it has to climb all the way back up to the top. And this plan it's really, really detailed, and it goes into it, and it's constantly being adjusted. It's not working, it's not being adjusted. These 5-year plans have been the keystone of China's development. This idea that on a yearly basis we make promises, on a 5-year basis we make promises, on a 10, 15, 100-year basis. Chinese government has a direction, morally and also in terms of what you need to do. So it's practical. Just saying, you don't have to like China's system, but you should at least study it and understand what it delivers and how it delivers.
So thinking in the longer term might be one of the greatest strengths of China.
It's not thinking, it's actually having a plan.
Yeah, of course.
Those who fail to plan, plan to fail. This is an old saying in the West. And yet we understand that, yet what do? We fail to plan.
So under the long-term planning and more practical planning, people, the CPC can invest more on infrastructures. And also it can pursue more ambitious technological advances and also implement policies that may take years to bear fruit.
Yeah. But this is about priorities. I mean, you as a party building expert, why do you build a party? To make good decisions. Decisions based on people-centered values. But the fact is, I was in politics at a fairly low level, state and local level. The terrible thing is, and the reality is, that you have to make choices. You cannot solve everything at one point, all right? And some problems are going to take a long time. They're structural, big issues, but you have to keep going. But there will always be people who are frustrated because you didn't solve their problem when they wanted it to be. This is the most difficult part. And this is something where in the West we've failed because people are more interested in getting reelected. When I was getting people elected, I taught them to be charming, how to talk to the press, how to gather money from special interests, right? I didn't say how to take responsibility for that. So very different, right?
Yeah, agreeing with you. I think one of the CPC's key advances in national governance is its ability to ensure long-term stability, which has supported China's modernization. As you all have seen, since the year of 1949, under the party's leadership, China has transformed from a poor and underdeveloped country into the world's second largest economy. And I think the consistent leadership enables long-term planning and policy continuity. While on the contrary, in some Western democracies, you will see frequent changes in government. And also, I think the unique Chinese political system, which combines the CPC's leadership with the multi-party cooperation and consultation, also helps to avoid political gridlock that are often seen in many Western democracies. Under this model, these democratic parties, they work alongside with the CPC by policy input and supervision. For example, in 2023, these democratic parties, they submitted over 42,000 proposals at the CPPCC session, which directly contributed to the innovation of the mechanisms in fields like 5G and AI. And another advantage of the CPC, I think, is the strong organizational capacity. You know, with over 99 million members and 5.17 million grassroots units as of the year 2023, the party can implement the policy effectively and swiftly across all levels of the government. And also, the accountability mechanisms ensures the public services, just like employment, education, healthcare, can be delivered with the people's well-being at the center. And finally, the CPC prioritizes innovation as the driver of development. So with the state-led approach, China now has made a lot of breakthroughs in areas just like 5G, high-speed rail, and the ultra-high voltage power transition. And I noticed that in 2023, R&D spending hit about 3.2 trillion yuan, which equaled to about 2.64% of GDP. So in short, I think the CPC's long-term vision, the policy consistency, the consultative government, and also the strong execution capacity gave China a distinct advantage over the political system that are hampered by the partisan division and short-term politics. So it has laid a very solid foundation for China's development and revitalization.
In the US, we have the House of Representatives, which is every 2 years. They're supposed to be more consultative, close to the people, right? Except they're all mostly millionaires and lawyers, things. Whereas in the CPPCC, all right, you have people from every walk of life, housewives, all right? You have people who actually collect the garbage, right? They work in sanitation. They're not looked down on. They are the people. All right? They represent migrants, right? They represent every area. And they come to Beijing and they come out with 42,000 ideas. But these are the people who bring forward social concerns about the elderly, about children, about schools, about policies that aren't working. And it's things that they know. They're representing the people that they are part of. Whereas in the US, it's become an elite entity, full of elites who all went to the same universities, who think the same, and just see it as a game. How do I get elected? How do I get power? How do I take care of my friends? The people, yeah, we'll do something. Let me get back to getting reelected and taking care of my friends. The CPPCC, every single one of the things that they suggestions have to be answered. They're sent to the appropriate ministries, they're routed to them, and an answer has to be given within a certain period of time. And at the next year, guess what? Report card, 42,000 suggestions. All right, were every one of them answered? It's generally in the 99-point-something percentage. There are always ones that you can't answer yet because it's too soon. There are other policies involved. But this kind of process, understanding it, I think it would be really so important for other systems to understand that there needs to be accountability.
I think that's all about the whole process democracy, the people's democracy. And there is also a well-known saying within the CPC, which is called from the people to the people. Which literally means that policies made or decided by the CPC should be originated from the people, and these policies should be returned to meet the people's needs. Okay, so much for the first part of our discussion. We've explored the CPC's core goals and how its long-term planning sets it apart from other governance models. In the next part, we'll dive deeper into how the party engages with the general public and how it's embracing digital tools to connect with the new generation. So stay with us.